I'm alive because
I'm alive because
I'm alive.
I have my 5 awesome kids.
I'm alive.
I'm still alive today because I heard your podcast.
Hi friends, welcome to another mini Monday episode of the I'm Alive Because podcast. I'm your host Sarah, and today I want to talk about something that is super near and dear to my heart, and that is the 8 dimensions of wellness. A few years ago, I was working for the headquarters office for the state of Washington's Developmental Disabilities Administration, and I was asked to take over the office wellness program. So I was responsible for educating staff members about health and wellness holistically and kind of the things that we could do in the workplace to manage our wellness. And so I truly fell in love with this model. And I want to talk about it today because I think that it's something that we forget to focus on all of these other aspects of our wellness. We're kind of programmed in society to really pay attention to what we eat and pay attention to our exercise. And we're even getting better about talking about, going to counseling or doing other things for our mental health. But very rarely do we talk about all of the dimensions of wellness. And so I really want to talk about them today. This model assumes that, to have an overall feeling of health or wellness in your life, that you really have to have an understanding of each domain and what you're doing within each domain to promote wellness. And so it kind of believes that all of these categories are equidistant from one another, meaning that not one category is more important than the other. Although, again, we've really been socialized, and especially as social media has become such, important parts of our lives the last, decade or more. We think so much about certain aspects of our wellness and forget about the others. So let's talk about them. The 8 wellness domains are: number 1 is your emotional or mental health. Number 2 is your financial health. Number 3 is your environmental health. Number 4 is your intellectual health. Number 5 is your social health. Number 6 is your occupational health. Number 7 is your physical health. And number 8 is your spiritual health. And I really want to break some of these categories down. So let's just go through them one by one, and feel free to send in any questions you have or ideas you have that, you think other listeners might enjoy putting into practice to promote wellness in some of these domains. I'd really love to share the things that I'm doing and the things that other people are doing for wellness in each category. I think that sense of community is really important. Okay, so the first category is our emotional or mental health. And, this just assumes that to have a feeling of wellness in this category, we really need to have coping skills and tools that we can apply to promote wellness. Most people aren't going to inherently experience a sense of great emotional or mental wellness. That's just kind of not what we were born to do as humans. We're always going to be on the lookout for an immediate health and safety risk. Like that was bred into us thousands of years ago. So it's really normal for people to have anxiety, and depression is at an all-time high statistically right now. So everybody should have tools in their back pocket to promote their overall emotional and mental health, whether that's going to counseling or doing a daily meditation practice or having a COBA head plan or a crisis plan or being around people that promote health in this domain. it's really important to sit down and check in with yourself about the things that you do to promote emotional or mental wellness. The next category is your financial health. So, to have high health in this area would be to feel deeply connected to your spending and feel as though you've got a really great relationship with the money that you're spending. Are you spending money in a way that is fulfilling and purposeful to you? Are you spending too much or too little? Those are kinds of questions for you to answer, but I'd really just like you to actually think about more about the reasons that you are spending money, right? So is the money that you're spending really purposeful and connected to your values and what you want your life to look like and what makes you feel healthy and safe in the world? The next domain is your environmental health. And I think this is something I especially overlook. I do a lot to maintain my physical and my mental health and even my spiritual and intellectual health and my social health. But it's very rare that I think about the impact that environment has on my overall wellness. And, if I was being honest with myself, I'd probably have like a more serious sit down with my wife about ways that I could create our house to be more of a space that feels comfortable and safe and calming to me. It seems silly, but almost everything that we own in our house is like things that she had, because I had like just a bunch of hand-me-downs and had never really invested money into furniture that was going to make me excited and feel good. And again, you have to remember I was in graduate school and we met and barely making it. And she was more settled in her law enforcement career. So she just had more money and she could invest that in the things that she owned. And so it makes sense that she came into our relationship with more and nicer things than I had. And so we've kind of used those in our household. But this is an aspect of my life and probably of our life that I'd really like to commit some energy and time into. And if you're in a long-term relationship or marriage or partnership, that means kind of having to compromise where your environmental health is concerned. The places that you spend your time, the walls that you look at every day, they really do have a big impact on your health. The fourth domain is your intellectual health. And so, to promote health and wellness in this area, you'd want to be engaging in activities that are intellectually stimulating to you, that cause you to think about your values and the ways that you relate to the world and think about the world. And you're engaging in conversations with people and spending time around people that really promote your continued development of thoughts and skills and strategies and ways of living. The fifth domain is your social health, right? So to promote wellness in this area, we really should be spending time with people who make us feel good and support us and love us, and who we make feel good and support and who we can love. And if you are noticing that you're spending time with people that don't do that for you, it doesn't mean that you have to necessarily cut them out of your life altogether, but maybe start to teach them the way that you need them to be as a friend or as a partner, as a loved one. And try to set some boundaries with them. I know that boundary setting can be really hard, and I think that will be a really great topic for a future Mini Monday episode. But learning to recognize when something you're doing or someone you're doing something with isn't fueling you and really is like exhausting you is a super important skill. And then being able to say, this really isn't where I'm at today, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be arriving at this thing that you want. Maybe, you should think about spending some time with some other people for a while. That's a basic example of kind of a boundary setting conversation, but spend time with people who you feel connected to and you feel see you and honor you and validate you. The next domain is your occupational health. And so it's funny because I'm actually in the midst of like re-identifying where my values are with my occupational health. I've spent many years in public social work, and the last year of my work with the state of Washington caused me to travel a lot. And I really enjoyed the work, but I couldn't be away from my wife and my dogs and my parents and my home and my bed as often as I was. I was sleeping, in a hotel over 100 nights a year, and it was exhausting to me. So the choice that I had to make for my occupational health and for my overall health was to leave that position. And so, your work has to be doing something that you believe in, that you enjoy, that is consistent with your personal values, or you can't show up for it and expect it to make you feel energized and excited and well. That's not to say that there's not going to be difficult times. Work is work, right? You're always going to be working through struggles and issues and tasks maybe that you don't like, but overall, my hope for everyone is that they're engaging in a work-life balance and that the work that they are doing feels really purposeful and consistent with who they are and what they want the world to look like. The next domain, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on. This is your physical health, right? So to promote health in this area, you definitely want to be moving your body and honoring your body regularly and fueling it and hydrating it and taking care of it. I actually met some clients yesterday. I work at a local gym here in Portland, and these couple really athletic men in their late 20s, and we were talking about their fitness, and of course they're really fit, all of these things. And then I was talking with the one man, and he was telling me about how sore he is. And I said, well, what kinds of movements are you doing? How often are you exercising? Are you stretching? Are you taking any supplements? Blah, blah, blah. And I eventually said, well, have you seen your primary care physician lately? And he doesn't have a primary care physician. He hasn't seen a primary care physician in over 5 years, and he didn't know how to identify a physician who was in network to his insurance. And so, it's just a good reminder to me that we can't assume that people know how to navigate the physical health system. So for anyone listening, if that kind of resonates with you, there will be a phone number on the back of your insurance card. You can call and ask for a referral for providers in network to you. There's also a tool online called ZocDoc, ZocDoc, and you can look up any kind of doctor local to you that's in network to your insurance. That's a tangent, but I want everyone who's listening to regularly see a doctor. And then the last domain is your spiritual health. And I want to separate spirit and religion, although for many people listening, you might kind of consider them one and the same. I think that's fabulous. But in this wellness model, the spiritual health really just means that you are understanding of your purpose in the world, and you feel deeply connected to your purpose in the world, and you're living your life consistent with what your purpose is. And so it took me I'm 26, so 25 years to figure that out. And actually it's been through my podcasting journey that I realized kind of my purpose, and it has been a painful journey, but I feel really strong about the fact that I know that my purpose on earth is to show up for people and to further the conversation about struggling with mental illness and living with mental illness, and being there to support people who don't feel supported and don't feel heard or seen or validated. And I every day live my life consistent with that purpose. That's why I show up for this podcast. That's why I show up for my friends, my family, why I'm constantly learning more tools and tricks, and why I pulled myself out of bed when I didn't want to record this podcast, right? So having an understanding of what your purpose is and why you're here, that is what your spiritual health is about. Where this wellness model is concerned. Again, if you have different ideas about any of these things, that's totally your right. But I just wanted to kind of go over these 8 wellness domains with you so that you have a really strong understanding of what they are and give you some ideas and, of course, my own kind of lived experience in each of these domains. Thank you so much for listening to this mini Monday episode. I hope that it was helpful. You learned something. You are ready to apply it. If you are, I would love if you would let us know how it's going, what you need, what kinds of mini Monday episodes you'd like to hear about. Just let us know. Talk to us. You can find us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at A Brand for the Broken. And if you are interested in joining any of our podcasts, please, you can find the form to fill out a request to be featured on the podcast on our website or on our Instagram page. I would love to talk to you, host you, hear your story. As always, please rate, subscribe, review, tell your friends, family, loved ones about the I'm Alive Because podcast, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.